For all those called, it's undeniable how those first few leaps of faith forever altered the trajectory of our lives. It wasn't so obvious then just how much we were about to leave behind, but we soon found out. This path of inner exploration entirely changed us. It changed our very future. We once had a normal life ahead of us, fully formed with friends, a career, and a romantic life that were just as predictable as anything else that came before it. Maybe you can still feel back to what your life would have been if you never allowed yourself to so thoroughly disrupt it. There was safety and security in the certainty of your plans, and the aspirations for your future brought a sense of hope and excitement. But at some point, you left it all behind. Why exactly? The call is hard to put to words. It's even harder to describe it to others who never took those near reckless leaps of faith themselves. But if we could put it to words, maybe we'd simply say, I had to do it. I knew I had to leave. And maybe for a time, that might have even felt true. But we didn't really have to do anything, did we? We made a choice, and that choice forever changed us. We would have never done such a thing, leaving behind so much of what we loved, if it weren't somehow worth it to us. What made that nebulous uncertainty so compelling? Wasn't it something more than yet another long stretch of mundane safety and security? Wasn't it that feeling that yes, there is something more to life? And wasn't that more a deep feeling that you could really make a difference here? The intelligence of our life's work, our soul's deepest mission, is what called us. Yet even so many years later, it can still feel out of reach. It's as if everything we left behind was for nothing more than to unlock the power of our intuition, something that still feels so underutilized. If this was truly God, light, why would this odd capability be so important as to leave behind so much? Aren't we meant to do something with the fruits of that journey? It's odd to imagine someone embarking on a long and winding hero's journey through countless trials and tribulations, only to return with a gift that no one would ever value or understand. And yet, that's nearly the feeling, isn't it? We can pretend that we set sail those many years ago, only to return with a feeling of peace in our hearts, that this peace is what we were searching for all along. But how would that make this call anything more than a massive bait and switch? We were called to a significant impact, and now arrive to only inner clarity and safety. That can only make sense for so long before the call itself reminds us of what we actually set out to do. This is the intelligence of your life's work, and from where we're standing, it's the only reason we ever started any of this. It's the only thing that can make this sort of dramatic alteration to our past and future feel legitimately worth it. There's no outside force that's going to make us see this divine alteration to its end. Not light, and certainly not darkness. This body of work that called you to it so many years ago is now but an opening. It will never be a demand that divinity makes of you. But we believe that if this call was compelling enough for you to take those massive leaps of faith in the first place, then this same call can be just as compelling today if, once again, the facts were laid straight. Every day, we have demands laid on our being. We come face to face with the immense pressures of our world that refuse to let us escape their grips. It's money that paints a picture of our demise unless we manage every cent with cognitive precision and the perfect plan. It's the relationships that we can only maintain with continual effort, carefully preserving the modified version of ourselves that these dynamics require of us. It's the responsibilities and virtues that bind us to a moral code that was never ours, that we don't actually believe in, but maintain only to become acceptable. It's the communities that we linger on the fringes of, just for the off chance that one day we'll need to be saved from the manifestation of our greatest fears. But the one thing that each of these narratives, each pressure has in common is that they contradict with our knowing, the knowing that we were called to so many years ago, when we remember that our leaps of faith were not taken without deep consideration, and that we only said yes to fulfill the sort of impact our soul craved most deeply. And these pressures cannot be taken so seriously. Even the most convincing of these pressures is suddenly laughable. Is the light that guided us through every challenging circumstance somehow incapable of ensuring our safety, meeting our needs, or fulfilling our mission through us? We were called not to merely avoid the pressure or learn to cope with it, but to entirely overcome its deceit. We are most certainly capable of everything we set out to do. If that weren't the case, why would we have ever been guided to begin? More than anything, it seems these pressures want to derail this alteration, to stop the call before it ever reaches its end. But the most powerful force in all of existence has something else in mind for you. It's not about what's wrong with you or what you're incapable of. It's about allowing you the vision to see through the very lies that have constructed these false narratives of your deepest insecurities. You are not someone who can be stopped by these pressures. To be stopped, you must give up, all on your own. But to the extent you remember what you're doing here, what reason could you ever have to give up on the deepest calling of your soul? To all those called, we can do nothing but urge you to remember why you started in the first place. There, and only there, is every reason why your soul wishes to continue, even head on against the seemingly insurmountable pressures you face. There's nothing that can stop you, as God itself is the wind in your sails.